Good morning. Welcome to Cedars Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Brian Baker, and I am the worship associate for our virtual service today alongside our minister, Zachary Vinson. Let's pause to acknowledge that members of our congregation occupy the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of Coast Salish tribes, the homelands of the Suquamish, Duwamish, Klallam, and Chimicum people were ceded under duress through the Point Elliots and Point No Point treaties. We are grateful guests on these lands and affirm indigenous sovereignty, both past and present. This acknowledgement does not substitute for the need to build authentic relationships with modern-day members of these tribes and to learn about their living culture and history. Our faith community is sustained by the generosity of our members. Your contribution will nourish the spiritual growth of our community through weekly worship, ongoing programs that cultivate connection, belonging, sharing, and caring. Included in the video description and displayed on the screen is information to make a contribution to Cedars through our PayPal account. Please take time either now or later in the service to make a contribution to help sustain Cedars. Your gifts are greatly appreciated. Cedars is committed to being a welcoming and inclusive community. In all the beauty of languages, cultures, and skin tones that come together in your uniqueness, we welcome you. In all the ways you experience and express gender, we welcome you. In the beauty of who you love and how you love, we welcome you. With all the religious and ethical traditions that inform your spiritual life, we welcome you. Whether you come feeling whole, feeling broken, or anywhere in between, we welcome you. No matter how long you've been away, nor how soon you will return, we welcome you. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today and always. A driving question for my practice is, how do I bring it off the cushion and into daily life? Sitting Zazen can elicit feelings of bliss, a sense of attainment, and everything is okayness. My first experiences settling into boundlessness arose in relative solitude. In contrived, conducive conditions. Unfortunately, these are not the conditions of daily life. Off the cushion, I found my capacity for acceptance, for equanimity, to be quite diminished. As a result, I felt that something was missing, that the conditions of my life were full of insurmountable complications. I mistakenly sought respite and spiritual retreat. A reference point for me. I was meditating at home soon after moving to Bainbridge 17 years ago. Outside was a murder of crows, rudely and raucously rowdy, an undeniable irritant, disturbing my peace of mind. Such was the story I told myself. I look back on this now and laugh. Perfection was an obstacle to practice. It was 3 years ago that I first established a daily practice of Zazen. Over the years, there were gaps of days, weeks, months during which I did not sit. I'd never been consistent. I realized then that to bring practice into daily life, I needed to practice in my daily life. I had an idea of what my commitment would look like, what would define success, but the map is not the territory, and life has a curious way of defying expectations and consistency. It wasn't easy. My ideal of success became a dangerous obstacle. If I couldn't do it perfectly, why do it at all? So, I simplified my vision of success. Just show up. There were mornings when I sat and took 3 breaths. I learned to let that be enough, teaching my inner critic some compassion and kindness. Spaciousness for practice grew with my commitment. I spent more time on the cushion. I recognized opportunities to practice off the cushion. Do I now sit every day? No. But missed days are few and far between. Zazen permeates my life more fully. It's not in retreat, but in acceptance that I practice. Reverend Angel Kyoto Williams, Zen priest and founder of the Liberated Life Network, says, "Our teachers are really the people, the situations that we confront moment to moment, day to day, month to month, year to year, that incite a sense of discomfort, dis-ease, and awkwardness in us. To dissolve resistance is to meet the circumstances of my life as they are, no matter how uncomfortable. No perfection, no figuring it out once and for all." Reverend Angel goes on, "Whatever is happening that feels like this annoyance, this frustration, this difficult person, this person doesn't agree with me, this person doesn't have my interest in mind and interest in heart. I can live and transcend this moment and live beyond that person, beyond that moment, and my actions come from there, from being able to return over and over again to what matters. We have always in front of us a possibility of how it is that our life is going to unfold. It's not the circumstances that define who I am, but how I respond. This is the practice I aspire to laugh with the crows, to seek wisdom in discomfort. That I fall short of it daily is no longer an obstacle. I dedicate this lighting of the chalice to the world as our field of practice. May we all embrace the discomfort of meeting our lives as they are with kindness and compassion."
As we come together to worship, we remind ourselves to treat all people kindly because they are our brothers and sisters, to take good care of the earth because it is our home, and to live lives full of love and goodness because that is how we will all become the best that we can be.
Holy I invite us into worship this morning with these words from the feminist poet Adrienne Rich. Rich writes, "No one ever told us we had to study our lives, make of our lives a study, as if learning natural history or music, that we should begin with the simple exercises first and slowly go on trying the hard ones, practicing till strength and accuracy became one with the daring to leap into transcendence." May these words set our intention this morning as we worship together. Come, let us worship together.
We worship with open hearts, nurture our learning spirit, serve justice with compassion, and love without judgment. We worship with open hearts, nurture our learning spirit, serve justice with compassion, and love without judgment. We worship with open hearts, nurture our learning spirit, serve justice with compassion, and love without judgment.
Hi, this is Emily Mockett. So good to be with you this morning. I would like to share with you my spiritual practice of Nia. I use it as a form of embodied prayer. And for me, aligning my mind, my heart, and my body with my spiritual intention elevates the spiritual potency for me. And I imagine the energy in my body, the life force energy, fully throughout me and extending out to the world, and how we're all connected. The song this morning I'm going to offer is called "I Am Thankful" by Karen Drucker. So I am offering a gratitude intention, and for me, I'm going to think about trees. You may pick whatever it is you're feeling grateful for in this moment. But for me right now, the trees are reminding me of the beauty of the continuous cycle of change. And we're having a lot of change. So join me. You can stand up. You can stay right where you are. And we're going to do shapes in space. So we're going to hold a shape, move, take that shape again, and then hold it longer. And you can do your own shape. Thank you. Or you can follow mine. Thank you. 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 I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. With every breath I take, I'm grateful. I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. With every breath I take, I'm grateful. I promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. sending you love. Keep breathing, keep moving, and keep living with an open heart of gratitude. And remember, you're never alone. Until we see each other again, namaste.
As we come into this time of meditation and prayer, let us acknowledge that this is a time of anxiety. This is a time of uncertainty. This is a time that is testing what we believe. In these next few weeks, I urge us to acknowledge that we need help. And I urge us to acknowledge that we can make a difference, that we are each powerful in our own way. More than anything, let us practice kindness. Kindness to ourselves, kindness to the people that we love, kindness to our neighbors, kindness that can ripple out and transform the world. Let's take a deep breath together. And pray for clarity of purpose. How can we make a difference in a world beset by heartache, filled with angry words and deeds? In these days, strengthen our resolve to take action. Help us to weave real connections, to keep reaching out, to keep bringing in. Give us strength to affirm that human lives are not disposable, that all humans deserve protection. Embolden us on a path towards justice. And hear our joys that they may be multiplied by every heart that receives them. And bear our sorrows with the knowledge that we are not alone. There is love holding us, even as we hold each other. May it be so. Amen.
When I was a boy, each week on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. And when I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad, miracles don't happen still. Now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but find shining where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips. But now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Testament, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now.
Years ago, when I was a graduate student researching my dissertation, I came across an article by a Catholic priest from the 1950s. The priest urged his female readers to take pride in their housework. He wanted women to mop, remembering that across these floors walk the people you love. The priest was urging women to adopt mopping as their spiritual practice. I laughed loudly enough to get a shush from the librarian. I chalked the message up to yet another priest encouraging women to be happy with their meager portion, to be happy with subservience. But sometimes words from unexpected place resonate. On my good days, it turns out I followed that priest's advice when I sweep my living room or clean the kitchen or pick up my children's shoes. Across these floors walk the people I love. It's become something I repeat to myself, sometimes in jest, sometimes with conviction, a spiritual practice that pulls me towards gratitude. That priest unexpectedly helped to form my faith. These days, faith formation has become my job. Like hearing that priest in my head, this is unexpected. I came to the UU tradition only after my kids were in kindergarten, and I honestly spent the first few years in my UU church wondering exactly what it was that UUs believe. I was raised in the South in a conservative religious tradition. Before I became Unitarian, the word faith carried expectations about following creedal rules, asking no questions. just giving clear answers. Too often, my religious leaders wielded the language of faith as a cudgel, a way to silence opposition even in the face of facts. Like Catholic priests telling women how to behave. The language of faith wounded instead of healed. Letting go of that faith took some time. Maybe that is true for some of you as well. These days, I agree with Unitarian poet Ralph Waldo Emerson. In his 1841 essay called The Oversoul, Emerson claimed the faith that stands on authority is not faith. Instead, Emerson believed that faith requires constant, individual practice. Faith, he said, needs frank attention to one's own experiences. Faith depends on revealing one's own truth. That feels more right to me than any one creed. In a different tradition, Buddhist author Sharon Salzberg makes a similar point. Salzberg claims that the Buddha said over and over again, "Don't believe anything just because I said it. Don't believe anything just because you've read it in a sacred text." The Buddha said, put it into practice. Put it into practice and see for yourself if it's true. This kind of faith implies movement, a going towards something that sustains and animates us. This kind of faith is active and alive. As Unitarian Universalists, we don't have faith. Instead, we make faith. We make our faith with questions and practices and community. No one ever told us we had to study our lives, said poet Adrienne Rich. That we should begin with the simple exercises first and go on trying the hard ones, practicing till strength and accuracy become one with the daring to leap into transcendence. Leap into transcendence. The truth is we are in faith formation all of our lives, whether or not we use that term. Making our faith never stops. We are constantly leaping. When we claim that truth, when we own that truth, we can make daring leaps that allow us to act out our faith in the world. Faith formation differs across the generations, of course. I find it fascinating from a linguistic point of view that getting grounded as a teenager is a punishment. Being grounded as an adult is a goal. But whatever age we are, we grow in faith when we practice paying close attention to what surrounds us. Those simple exercises first. We grow in faith when we practice finding and keeping our balance. Now the harder ones. We grow in faith when we practice loving kindness. Harder still. Friends, we live in a time of high anxiety. The news is hard to bear, but we cannot turn away. But such anxiety and fear and worry wears down our spirits, can make it hard to carry on. Every single day, it feels like there is a murder of crows outside the window, rudely and raucously rowdy, drowning out all rational thought. In response, we need practices that support and nurture our faith now more than ever. We need practices that counterbalance the chaos. Because as social activist Adrienne Marie Brown said, what we pay attention to grows. Now, not all of us are good at holding a spiritual practice. It can be hard. If you are anything like me, it's so easy to get distracted. I get sucked into my computer instead of sitting still. I worry over my to-do list instead of making a list of gratitude. Too often I notice the horrors and I gloss over the beauty that surrounds me. I close down instead of reaching out. I know that I need help to train myself towards spiritual awareness. That's why it's called spiritual practice instead of spiritual perfection. We won't master it on our first try, or our second, or our 100th. We aren't supposed to. We aren't supposed to be perfect. We're supposed to practice. So don't worry if you mess up, or falter, or struggle. Don't get discouraged if you get overwhelmed. Don't worry if you skip a day or 10. Just try again. It's not important to be perfect. It's important for our faith that we keep practicing. And here's the awesome part about being part of a faith community. We have help. We have people who will support and encourage us along the way. We do not carry our faith practice alone. Faith often gets presented as a journey, as an individual path of discovery. This can be true, but it's not the whole story. Our communities matter. Even online, even in these physically distant days, we can nurture each other, learn from each other, sustain each other when our world feels overwhelming. Faith needs personal practice, yes. But in living out our covenant with one another, we make those practices come alive. Our faith becomes a verb in community. Our faith becomes action in community. Being part of a community helps to take us off the cushion and out into the world. We inspire each other. Examples abound. Brian shared his Zazen practice. Emily offered us her dance practice. Now I want to offer you 4 more examples from this congregation, folks who practice their faith in ways that might inspire you, pique your curiosity, open your heart to something new. As you watch, you might realize anew that nature itself is a miracle, not heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. You might realize you don't need a church building to grow your spirit, or a minister preaching sermons to remind you of the holy. Practice reveals what we know as our deepest truth.
Looking at nature, being in nature. This is my spiritual practice. Whether it is walking through the woods or walking along a beach or sitting in my garden, looking at the parsley leaves, feeling the mulch that allows the deep roots to grow deep down into the earth, or feeling the rain on my face or the wind in my hair. I close my eyes and envision everything as energy, dissolving the imagined barrier between my skin and the invisible air surrounding me. I sense the vibration of every molecule and relax until I feel attuned to that vibration. I lose the sense of being separate from nature and feel no hierarchy as to my worth relative to that of everything around me. Connected to the earth, to the air, and to myself, I find peace.
Hi, this is Rick Freeman. I've been asked to share with you a practice that I might use each day to deal with the stresses of living in the COVID environment. And I'd say that the one that stands out for me is mindfulness. Going for a walk in the woods, and that might mean just going out and sitting next to the nearest plant that's around me, or in the rain, sitting inside next to a plant, and just breathing into being. Just noticing how natural it is, how natural the environment is, and allowing that to be enough. Taking my attention away from what has been distressing and putting it on something that soothes me. It's a very simple practice. And when that doesn't work, I take myself further away. I imagine myself focusing intently on what it is that's distressing me. And then I close my eyes and rise above it. And I continue to expand as if I'm a being of light, expanding out as far as imagination could possibly take me into the vastness of being. And when I do that, at some point I realize that the big picture is far more important than the little picture. And then I know that life is ongoing. In that vastness of being, there are infinite potentialities that supersede the little ones that are currently distressing me. And with that, I restore myself. And coming out of it, I return to my body, pay attention to the feelings inside, perhaps even move my focus of attention around the inner parts of my body, my being, and notice the outer parts as well, the subtle energies that surround my body. And then I take a deep breath, open my eyes, and return restored to the present moment. It's a trip around the universe and then back to right here where I started. But the feeling in the end is so much better. Thank you for listening. I wish you all the best. Blessings on your journey.
My name is Penny Brewer, and one of my spiritual practices is meditation every day. My favorite meditation is the loving kindness meditation that I do frequently. And it says, "May my heart be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be at ease and peaceful. May I be happy." And I use this meditation so much for people around me that I'm concerned about, and focusing on who they are and saying the loving kindness meditation for them. May your heart be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be at ease and peaceful. May you be happy. And I find it just becomes part of my daily life, whether I'm thinking about a specific person or even our whole country. And I tend to use it when I used to go into the city every day, not every day, but 3 days a week. And I would pass many homeless people and be using the meditation as I would walk with them. The other thing I've been doing lately is focusing on 3 words. These are words that I find helpful when I wake up, when I go to bed, throughout the day. The first one is courage. The courage to do small things that might make a difference, that might help our democracy, that might help other people. And maybe it's just me getting out of bed, sometimes needing courage for that. And the second one, of course, is kindness for others and for myself, recognizing how important it is for us to be kind. And the third is gratitude, that keeping a sense of gratitude about all that we've been given just helps shift me back into what's really important. I find that these practices really help me stay more centered, more able to be the person I want to be. Thank you.
My spiritual practice is what I call my gratitude walk. It's a form of walking meditation, mindfulness meditation. It's a sort of a self-guided mindfulness meditation. And mindfulness is all about being in the moment, being aware. And we've owned this property for 41 years, so it's very familiar to me, but at least once a day in the mornings when I go and get the paper, I try to be fully aware of it. I try to actually see it and smell it and feel a connection with it and with the creatures that live on it. So what I do, I walk out the kitchen door and I walk up the drive and I say, hello tree people, thank you trees. Hello fern people, thank you ferns. Thank you green ones, thank you feathered ones, thank you furry ones. And thank you earth. Here I am, one more day. Thank you sky. And I take 2 long, deep breaths. Thank you sun, and thank you rain. And I try very much, at least once a day, to actually be there and cast off past and future and whatever concerns I may have and just be in the moment. Whether that's spiritual or not, I'll let you decide.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Johanna. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Emily, and thank you, Brian. Cedars is a community rich in faith, rich in practice. Spiritual practice is integral to our UU faith. Practice demands no creed. There's no one single path, no one right way to spiritual awareness. Spiritual practice doesn't even need to sound spiritual. As Peter Mayer reminded us, everything is holy now. With practice, the line between secular and spiritual might blur and all but disappear. Spiritual practices are tools, not ends. They help us learn to slow down, to pay attention, to focus, to let go. Practices form our faith. Practices lead us to what we hold most dear. The practice can change. It can fall away, be replaced by something new. That is okay. Just trust that at each moment in your life, you know what makes you come alive and move towards that. Because when we practice, our spirit grows. With practice, we become better humans. We make our faith. So if you haven't already, begin some small practice that leads your spirit towards openness and balance. Look for something that brings you back to your deepest self. Make your faith with practice, and let your faith make you anew. May it be so. Amen.
Into faith set free from fear. When the
extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Go forth this morning with a renewed commitment to practice your faith, to make your faith come alive with practice. Our service today has ended, but our service to the world has just begun.